What's up, gangsters? You want to hear some of my wild tales? Or rather those of Argentinian filmmaker Damian Cifrón? That would be more convenient since he wrote and directed 6 of them in his latest movie, Relatos Salvajes, which translates to, of course, Wild Tales. It's a 2-hour-long anthology movie with 6 independent segments, all running between like 7.5 and 30 minutes. These 6 segments, they're only somewhat related theme-wise, since they all tell stories of characters in somewhat desperate situations and tell us how these people handle those situations. All of the segments, they have a pretty simple setup that soon works towards a fun and, well, often violent climax. For example, in the 3rd segment, El Más Fuerte, we follow a cool looking dude who insults another driver and then continues being cool again until he gets a flat tire and the other driver catches up to him. Or Bombita, the 4th segment, where a man finds his car unfairly being towed and then, after he's refused a refund for his fee, loses his temper, causing a domino effect of bad stuff happening to him. Again. Okay, so the thing about this movie is that even though the stories could have been told with a straight face, which would make them quite depressing, maybe even a little disturbing, the director decided to present all of them with just the right dose of black comedy, making this a wickedly funny movie. Does that sound stupid? Wickedly funny? Fun was a great way to describe it. It is wickedly funny. Although the degree of this black comedy, you know, like how well it's balanced, it kind of varies from part to part, with the 1st segment, Pasternak, in which a group of passengers on an airplane discover that they all have something in common, being mostly just a little silly. But then you have the 5th part, La Propuesta, being probably the most serious one, about a rich couple trying to come up with a plan to get their son out of trouble after he hit and run a pregnant lady with a car. Like he hit the pregnant lady with a car. Although that segment's ending is definitely like pitch black comedy, which I won't spoil, though, don't worry about that. In general, I'm usually not the biggest fan of this anthology format. I feel like these segments are usually too short to really set up anything interesting, you know? On the other hand, if one segment isn't that interesting, you never have to wait too long in order to, you know, like start with a new little movie. That's actually what always gave me a lot of confidence in deciding whether or not to watch the ABCs of Death. Although with those movies, most of the segments ended up sucking. With Wild Tales, on the other hand, they're basically all good. Besides the ones I've already mentioned, there's 2 more segments. The 2nd one, Las Ratas, where a waitress recognizes a customer as the man who basically messed up her whole family and is now contemplating revenge. And the final one, Hasta que la muerte nos separe. Is that alright? Perhaps my favorite segment, where a bride during her wedding discovers that her new husband cheated on her with one of the guests, and then goes and throws a huge crazy fit. It's a great reminder to never date a crazy chick. And, well, if you do, be sure to never ever cheat on her. Really, this is a fun movie. In my opinion, it starts out a little meh, with the 1st segment being my least favorite. It's a little silly and just like simple. And I was like, okay, you know, if it's gonna be like this, then so be it. But from there, it basically got better with each segment. The running time of each tale gets longer as we progress through the movie, so that does kinda confirm my personal opinion, you know, like what I said just now earlier, that you can't really set up anything too interesting in a short running time, since I basically think that the further you get into the movie, the better the segments become. Also, quite important, besides the funny setups, I just love the look and feel of this movie. The cinematography and the camera work is very pleasant and it definitely helps to keep even the less interesting parts quite interesting. It's like, you know, the cinematography is so well done that you don't even necessarily notice that it is so well done, if that makes any sense. If anything, it just looks nice. It definitely does. I'm really not all that familiar with Argentinian cinema. Off the top of my head, I can really only think of ever having seen 4 of them, and that's including this movie. Funny thing though, that 3 out of these 4 movies all star Ricardo Darín, who is, from what I understand, like the Robert De Niro of Argentina. All of these 4 movies that I have seen, they were all great. So if there's some more Argentinian movies out there that I should really check out, you know, like maybe there's some experts out there, let me know, I'm down. So, in conclusion, if you guys are down for a few shorts with very well balanced black comedy, some great performances, I actually completely forgot to mention that, a very pleasant cinematography, and you don't mind reading subtitles in case your Spanish isn't up to par, yeah, be sure to check it out. Recommend it.